Once again, Kishimoto delivers us a chapter that has the effect of, polarizing the fandom. And by that I mean this. It's very easy to read a chapter like this and either say it was epic or just say that it wasn't that big of a deal. So that's the polarization that I see. I woke up, I checked my inbox, and a lot of people were saying, hey, they were just telling me how epic they thought the chapter was. And then I read some other comments that were stating that it wasn't really that big of a deal. So let's try to, my job is to deconstruct the chapter and just because I get both sides. Let's start with the basics here. If you remove the ending from this chapter, what's left? Like, what do you have? Well, you have a couple of things. First of all, you have Naruto's Futon Rasen Shuriken hitting Madara. We see it expand, so it obviously made contact with him. You have Obito feeling sorry about what he did. And you also have the Gaara and Shukaku team up. And then you have Obito feeling sorry about what he did. I really like the Shukaku team up. I really did. Because I feel like the raccoon was excluded from that talk that all of the other Bijus had to have with Naruto. So I'm glad, and you can tell, this story is coming to an end, as confirmed by Kishimoto himself. Because you could see like all these loose ends begin, they get tied up. So you have Gaara and the raccoon have some closure in this, so I like that. They're gonna team up in hopes of actually being able to seal Madara with this ultimate Sanjutsu, which, given the way that the chapter ended, I'm not even sure if that's gonna make any sense anymore. But hey, I like the closure that was there and just the interaction that was there. But let's go into the ending. So you cannot like this chapter or dislike it if you do not have an answer for this question. What does having a body give Madara? Like, what does it do for him as a character? Because I can see the pros and the cons here. Because if you think about it, being in Edo Tensei mode granted Madara a couple of attributes that were pretty handy, to say the least. Okay? First thing that it granted him was quote-unquote immortality, all right? And I'll get on to why it's quote-unquote immortality, because I mean, if you get sealed, that's pretty much the same thing as dying. So, but let's stick with that. So, immortality. It also granted him the ability to regenerate, any damage. I mean, if he lost a limb, it would eventually grow back. If his entire body was messed up, like, I don't know, like having a meteor strike, it would regenerate. So those are two things. And then ultimately what it also gave him was just this infinite supply of chakra. Those three things are now gone from his character. Now that he's like he's mortal now. So let's look at the things that he gained from having a body. The number one thing that he gained is the ability to possibly become the Jinchuriki, another Jinchuriki for the Ten Tails, just like Obito. Because I don't know, I think it was mentioned, or am I wrong? Well, we'll clarify this, because I don't know, I'm under the impression that in order to be the Jubi's Jinchuriki, you have to be a living, breathing person. There's this part of the chapter that states that now, given the fact that he has a body, and that he's actually alive, he's been revived to his fullest, he can now fight at full force, which obviously implies that beforehand, while being in Edo Tensei mode, it had some drawbacks, and he wasn't able to fight at full force. And then my question becomes, well then, what the fuck was stopping you? Because really, look at all these three things that I mentioned that you had. Those are some pretty nice characteristics of a body to have. You don't really get to die unless you're sealed. You get to regenerate, and chakra, you don't run out of it. So it's like, I mean, I see the transaction, and I see like one part of it, but I'm like, okay, did you actually gain something in return? And so I think the biggest thing is that he can now be, if he wanted to, he could be the Jinchuriki. But then it would take like time to absorb all the Bijus back, and then given the fact that Gaara was having that interaction with the raccoon, I don't even know if that's even part of the plan anymore, because it'd be pretty stupid to have the raccoon talking about like, yeah, I'll help you, and then they just get sealed anyway. And even all the Bijus were talking about helping Naruto, so I mean, I don't know. Well, what if Naruto becomes the Jinchuriki for the Ten Tails? Holy shit. By the way, fucking Sai, like a tiger. You really think that a tiger was gonna take down Madara? I'm sorry. There's like this part of the chapter where like Sai comes in with a bird and he's like, yo, Naruto, hop on. And then Naruto's like, thanks, Sai. Holy shit, you're relevant again. My main point here is that the transaction that took place of Madara becoming mortal and sort of possessing Obito to use the Rinne Tensei on him only makes sense, really, if you think about it. It only makes sense if Madara had no way out of being sealed. And that was like his only alternative to stay in the game. Obito comparing himself to Nagato and just realizing why Nagato did what he did at the end. In terms of betraying him, is like, oh, now I understand. The feels, Nagato, the feels. And no, but seriously, there's also this part where I was like, really? Holy shit. So I think Kakashi, it's either Kakashi or Minato who say, like, you don't have to do this. Like, you can actually just come back to our side, face justice, whatever the fuck that means in the Naruto world now, and things will be dandy. I mean, it's not exactly what he said, but he says something along the lines of, you can atone for your sins and you'll get redemption, something like that. And Obito says, he actually says, no, that would be the easy way out. When you have an antagonist who is going to punish himself worse than whatever it is the good side would do to him, which, by the way, his punishment would be death because he knows he's gonna die by using the Rinne Tensei, that's a fucking problem. I'm sorry. Like, your antagonist is gonna punish himself worse than what the good side would do to him. Because Black Zetsu took possession of Obito, does that mean that, it's just gonna be Madara and that's pretty much like the only person that's gonna get resurrected? I think it's only for Madara, right? Yeah. Like, Neji's death would definitely lose value if he were to come back. It'd be like, I mean, what does death even mean in this fucking war? I mean, the one death that we as Naruto fans accepted as an actual loss would no longer be a loss if he were to come back. So it'd be like, haha, fuck death. That shit don't mean anything. We've kind of all been waiting for this moment, for Madara to get his hands dirty and be like, haha, fuck you, now that Obito's dead. Or, I mean, he's pretty much out of the game, right? I mean, it's like there's nothing else he can do, pretty much. It's just like, I mean, maybe just a little bit more talk no jutsu and a flashback, and bye-bye. The Rin flashbacks will be substituted by Hashirama flashbacks. Speaking of Hashirama, the only way the playing field gets leveled out, with Hashirama on the good guy side, is if Madara either takes him out, just takes Hashirama out, and then you could have the whole, like, the whole, oh, the new generations surpassed the previous ones, and Hashirama telling Naruto, like, this is where I leave you. Unfortunately, I wasn't strong enough to take out Madara this time. I leave this up to you, Naruto. Go, go, go. Hashirama gets taken out, and it's up to Naruto to save the day. Or if he, like, does something to brainwash Hashirama, like, I know this is kind of a stretch, but like Kotoama Tsukami, like that one order that you have to follow till the end, like, Itachi to protect Konoha. So maybe Madara could do something like that. Not exactly the same thing, but something like that. Or, some type of Izanami bullshit, something like that, to get Hashirama out of the way or on his side. And that would be a fucking threat, alright? And I'd be like, holy shit. Now what's next? As of right now, I think there's a lack of information, in order to, like, just see this scenario clearly. And it goes back to my initial question of, like, what does being mortal actually do for Madara? And what does it not do? I mean, if next week we get the body bags and we realize, holy shit, like, this is Madara's true potential, and that's why he needed to have a body, then I say, okay, so this is the changing point, the pivotal moment of having Madara unleash his fury on the shinobi. Obito, your time has come. Get the fuck out of the manga. Madara, I hope you do some serious damage and you rise, you raise the tension. Raise the tension. It was an enjoyable chapter, I'll give it that. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.